Welcome to Osseo-Fairchild for tonight's game between the Immanuel Lutheran Lancers and your Osseo-Fairchild Thunder. Please stand if you are able and remove any hats you may be wearing as we honor our country with the national anthem. Is one of the primary purposes of educational athletics. Our student athletes recognize that judgment calls by coaches, officials, and themselves are made in good faith and should be respected. Spectators can support both of these teams by refraining from derogatory or demeaning comments and cheers today. We hope that you will enjoy the game and support the students in a positive and sportsmanlike manner. And now for your starting lineups for the Lancers. Number 11, senior Becky Neltner. Number 14, junior Gwyneth Gergel. Number 15, junior Savannah Quaid. Number 20, sophomore Lydia Koki. And number 24, senior Gabby Radical. Head coach for the Lancers is Missy Nelner with assistants Christian Goodman and Hannah Goodman and manager Maybe Sidow. And now for the Thunder. Number 15, junior Emma Ligon. Number 30, junior Riley Johnson. Number 32, sophomore Gianna Shepard. Number 34, sophomore Kiara C. And number 42, senior Michaela Kisau. The coach for the Thunder is Matt Miller with assistant Kelsey Higley. The officials for tonight's game are Clark Ellis, John Dickinson, and Rick Prince.
Hello and welcome to today's match between the Immanuel Lancers and the Osseo-Fairchild Thunder. Lancers currently 2-3 on the year, with the Thunder being 0-3, both teams losing to Blair Taylor. Lancers just on Tuesday they lost. Osseo was one of their first games of the year as they will win the tip. And swing it over quickly to Johnson, who travels on the way in. Quick turnover sends it back to the Lancers. Spurgeon will take it up the floor. Lancers without Clokey still with that knee injury. Not entirely sure what it is at the moment, but might not be able to return this year is what it looks like it will be, as Nelner will drive inside. Jumper comes up short, rebounded by Clokey. Back up top to Gergel. Has some space, won't take it. Radical going to drive inside, kick out Quaid for the open jumper. That one bounced out as well. Tipped around and rebounded by Nelner. He'll take it back up top and hand off to Gergel. Takes him back over to Nelner. Skip pass across to Radical. Radical with some space inside, and a foul was called against Kisau. We'll send a Radical to the line to take 2. She shoots the most free throws other than Lancer. That's her first bounce off here. Michael's second bounces out as well. So a lot of good looks for the Lancers. Adds a few free throws as well. Nothing's fallen yet. It's back up the floor as Johnson swings it over to Kisau. Swings it back high to C. Fake's looking to drive in on Lydia. Dribbles off a foot. Gurgle on the floor to grab it. Pressure comes and a foul is called. That'll be the second on the Thunder. And the first on C. Gurgle back up the floor. Has space for that three-pointer. Won't take it just yet. She'll send back over to Nelner. It's inside, gonna find Quaid. Back up top to Gurgle. She'll take the 3. Banks it in. And the Lancers go up 3-0. And a travel is called on Johnson, her second of the night. Wanted to pass, ended up not being there. Hesitated and took that extra step as it goes right back to Lancers. 16:47 to go as Gurgle takes it back up the floor. And now a little more pressure on Gurgle after making her first 3. Swings it back to her, swings around to Nelner. Had Quaid for a second, back up top to Gurgle. Back over to Nelner. Nelner's got space. She'll take a 3. Comes up short. Lydia all alone. Heads it off too hard. Picked up by Radical. And a jump ball. Nelner will pass it in baseline. Sends into Quaid. Quaid pressure on her. And another jump ball. This one going to go to the Thunder. Quaid didn't quite have the room to take it. Ends up giving it back to the Thunder. A couple of jump balls. Swings it over to C. Good cut inside by Langton. Swings it back across to Johnson. Back short corner. C back high to Kisau. Swings over to Langton. Back across to Johnson. Johnson sends it to the paint, and an illegal screen is called. That'll be the 3rd foul. And that was going to go against Langton. So 3 fouls in just the first 2 minutes for the Thunder. Lancers still with none. They might be shooting a lot of free throws here if this continues. Nelner sends it back high to Gurgle. Swings it back over to Lydia. Lydia's got some space. Thinks about it. Won't take it. Back over to Quaid. Quaid backs across to Nelner. Nelner open jumper. Comes up short. Going to get her on a rebound. Pressure on her. And travels. Nelner had a lot of good looks in that game on Tuesday against Blair Taylor. Ended up not being able to hit a bunch until late. Already had a couple here. She hits the floor open. 3 for Langton off the back rim. Tipped, rebounded by Radical. Tipped out of her hands. Gurgle on the run. Going to save in the corner. Pivot through and hand back off to Radical, who will give her right back to Gurgle. Regains her dribble and takes it back up the floor. Over to Lydia. Back over to Gurgle. Swings it over to Nelner. Lydia replaces to the corner. Going to get it to Radical instead. Radical turns. Comes up short. And rebounded by Kisau. Back up the floor is Langton. Nelner up on her blue line. Going to swing across to Johnson. Takes one dribble and sends it back up high to Langton. Swings it back across. Open 3. She'll take it. Off the back. Rebounded by Gurgle. That's a 2-on-2. Radical makes it a 3-on-2. Gurgle will slow it down. Pass it to Quaid. Quaid the open 3. Won't take it back over to Radical. Radical steps inside. Double teamed. A lot of contact. Foul called a little bit late. She will head back to the line to take 2 more after missing her first 2. Also the 4th team foul now on the Thunder. With exactly 15 minutes to go. Which will go against Sheffer. So spread out at least, but still 4 out of the 5 already with fouls. That's Radical's first. Rims up and out. Radical now 0 for 3. Usually one of the better free throw shooters if they only hit one tonight. As Goodman prepares to check in and will. And it will be for Radical. She misses her second free throw. Rebounded by C. He'll swing it over to Kisau. For an option. Radical caught her unaware, has got a hand on it. Kisau will get it back. Johnson now up top, swings it over, open 3, takes it quickly. Comes up short. Sheffer can get the rebound. Shoots through, hands off corner to Langton. Wants to give it to Johnson. Johnson all out of space. Now going to step through and drive inside. And now travel's called. Goodman will enter in for Radical. So Lancers will hold on to a 3-point lead with 14:34 to go. We'll go back up the floor for the Lancers. Swings over to Nelner. Back up top to Girdle. Back over to Lydia. Into the corner with Nelner. She'll fake drive inside. Little floater knocks it down. Brings it back to a 5-point game. Going to follow this. We need that to keep falling. Stay in this game as Kisau will send it into the paint. Gets it through. Sheffer 1-2 up and in. Brings it back to a 3-point game. Thunder finally getting some good move on offense, trying to get that going. Girdle will swing it over to Nelner. Back up high to Girdle. Swings it over to Lydia. Has Nelner on trying to give it instead. Goodman steps through back over to Quaid. Quaid triple teamed and a foul is called. That'll be the 5th on the Thunder. And it'll go against Lingen. And that'll be her 2nd. Brings it up to a 4-point game. 5 and 33, Swanson and Ness will enter in for Lingen and Sieg. That's Quaid's 2nd free throw to make it a 5-point game. Bounces up and in. Back up the floor with Johnson. Kicks it over to Ness. Mishandles it, ends up rolling out of bounds. Lancers forcing a turnover, sends it back up their way with 13:43 to go. It's over to Lydia, back over to Girdle. Drives over towards down there, we'll give it to her. Lydia goes corner. Has some space, won't take it into the paint with Quaid, a little bit late, poked away. Picked up by Kisau. Poked out of her hands, look at it back. Hands off up top to Ness. Nelner right up on her. Looks to the paint, gonna give it to her. Quaid right up on it. Nelner comes to help, and a kick back out. Swings around the perimeter from the top of the key. Johnson comes up short. Girdle on the rebound. Gonna slow it down. In the paint with Quaid, hands it off to Nelner. Nelner mishandles the pass, and now a jump ball. No jump ball. Lets him play. That's wrestles it away and hands it off to Kisau. Radical preparing to check back in. As Swanson has it. Pass to the corner. She'll head through. Back up top with Ness. Back over to Kisau. Hands it back over to Swanson. As Johnson up top. Johnson bit of space. Won't take it. Back to the paint. Good read from Quaid. And Quaid will take it away. Trying to blow right past her. Gets poked away. She'll slow it down the court. Send it back high to Lydia. Back over to Nelner. Nelner takes it up top and gets set up. Over to Quaid, hand off to Lydia. Lydia steps through. A lot of contact, tipped out of her hands. And will stay with the Lancers. Radical runners in along with Sieg for Johnson. As Lydia heads to the bench for the first time tonight. And now a timeout by the Lancers with a 5-point lead, 7-2 with 12:15 to go. After the timeout, 7-2, a 5-point game for Lancers. Passing in quickly to Radical. Back in the corner with Goodman. Goodman's got space, and she'll knock it down. Good play from the Lancers to get themselves into double digits. Now up by 8, 10-2. Swings over to Swanson. Swanson's got some space. She'll respond with 3 of her own. brings it back to a 5-point game as Gurgle takes it back up the floor for the Lancers. With Radical back in, Goodman able to be on the wing, which is able her to take the 3-point shot if she needs it. Back up high to Gurgle. Swings it around to Nelner. Back up top to Gurgle. Over to Radical. Radical will step inside. Skip pass across to Nelner. Nelner drives inside. Draws the foul, but can't quite knock it down. As it'll be the 16th foul, and Lance will be shooting for the rest of the half with 11:36 to go. Nelner to the line for the first time tonight. First one off the back of the rim. Keeps it a 5-point game. Second one will rattle in to make it a 6-point game, 11-5. Esau will send it in to Sieg. Gurgle will meet her at blue line. Swings it across to Swanson. Pass right through the hands of Ness. It's being picked up by Sieg. Takes up a dribble pass, blocked by Gurgle. Gurgle not a lot of room inside, going to be forced back out. Kick out to Quaid. Quaid open through and take it back over to Goodman. Goodman, her second of the night. Bounces off short and rebounded by Sieg. That's up top, pass blocked by Nelner. Now Nelner will take it to the floor. Nelner has a step. And a lay it up and in. Back pass fast breaks for the Lancers. This one gets through as Nelner gets the step on her. Makes it an 8-point game, 13-5 with 10:50 and counting. Swings it over to Sieg. Wants to give it to Ness. Now she'll drive inside. Back up top, chip by Nelner. Sieg will handle it back beyond blue line. Nelner right up on her. Swings it over to Swanson into the paint. Good read from Quaid. Tipped into the hands of Gurgle. Pressure from behind as Gurgle takes up the floor. Has a step on a couple of them. She'll take it inside. Hand back off to Nelner. Back up top with Gurgle. Swings over to Goodman. Goodman a lot of space. Won't take it. Back up top to Gurgle. Over to Nelner. Fakes. Pass into Quaid. Kick out corner. Goodman again. Comes up short. Tipped up and out of bounds, and it'll go back with the Thunder. Up top is Sieg. Get it over to Swanson. That's Esau coming around. Radical good read. Couldn't quite get there in time. Esau now space from the free throw line. Banks off the wrong side. Rebound inside. Back up the line. And the first foul now is called. Going to go against Quaid. 13-7. Chance to get it down to a 5-point game. As Sheffer hits to the line. And one. Lancers, good job to hold off on that first foul. Went 8 minutes without it. Does eventually go against Quaid, who usually has the most fouls for Lancers. Her and Nelner usually getting a decent amount of foul trouble. Good job holding off at least until now. Nelner's still with them as well. Already short-staffed without Clokey. Back over to Radical. Quick back up to Gurgle. Has some space. Won't take it. Back up to Radical. Radical will step inside. Skip pass across. Tipped. Nelner gets it on the floor. Triple team and her foot on the line. Before we see Thunder starting to get the offense going. Guys start converting as the Lancers offense starting to go dry. Back up top with Johnson. Back up top with Swanson. She'll sweep through. Back over to Sieg. Sieg looks to the low corner. Now sends it back out to Swanson. Right back up top. Nelner tries to pick it. Steps out for a step back. Deep two. Comes up short and a foul from behind. This will send Sheffer back to the line. Ends up going against Quaid, the second foul for her, and the second team foul as well. We'll see if Lancer sent a sub in for her to avoid getting her third, which now I guess it's early on after pulling off for so long. It's 2 almost back to back. As first free throw bounces out. And Sheffield will take her second as Esau exits with Dunahay entering. No sub in for Quaid. Second free throw will fall. Brings it down to a 4-point game. Quaid's got to be careful. Up the floor goes Gurgle. Here's a corner to Radical. Back up high with Gurgle. She'll take the quick three. Gurgle knocks down another. 2 for 2 on the day as she brings the lead back up to 7. Sieg up top. They hand it off to Johnson. Back over to Swanson. Back over to Johnson. Into the paint. Kick out to Swanson. Has some space. Going to get past across. Stolen away by Radical. Has Gurgle in front of her. Going to take the lane herself. A lot of contact. No foul. Took that out of her hands. Saved by Sieg. Now they're looking to trap. Does. Pass up. And handled by Swanson. And back at the floor. Goes Sieg. Back over to Swanson. Hands it off up top to Johnson. Looks to the paint. Going to swing it over. Pressured three from Sieg. Comes up short. Shot it very quickly and not a lot of space to do so. As Lydia will now enter in for Quaid. Quaid most likely going to set up for most of the rest of this first half. Probably with about 3 or 4 minutes left. Gotta avoid getting that third foul in this first half. This one will be swung over to Neller. Back up top to Gurgle. Quick swing over to Lydia. Lydia got a lot of space. Bounced up and out. Rebound Radical inside. Gets blocked. And is taken away by Sheffer. Hand it back off to Johnson. Takes it and pass it over to Swanson. Back up top for Sieg. That's the short corner. In for an option. Donahue. Pressure comes. Going to hand it off up top. Quick to the post with Sheffer. And travel is called. Over to Nelman. Back up top to Gurgle. Quick swing over to Clokey. A lot of space. She'll take it again. This time it falls. Lancers go up by 10, 19-9. Hammett now going to move up the bench. As Johnson drives the corner. Hands it off to Sheffer. Right back to her. 1-on-1 with Goodman. Kick back out to Swanson. Right back short corner to Sheffer. Quickly back into the paint with Donahue. Double team. Got a bank it in anyway. The Thunder hit double digits, now with an 8. Gurgle up the floor. Gets it over to Nelner. Back up high to Gurgle. Drives over and sends it to Lydia. Looks to the paint with Goodman, going to give it to her. Back across with Radical. Into Nelner. Nelner bad angle, going to dribble out, take a little fade away, sends it long. Rebounded by Swanson, sent up. Ends up getting over to Johnson. Pass tipped by Radical. Tipped again by Radical. Again by Radical. She'll handle it. Send it up the floor to Gurgle. Has Goodman across if she wants it. Pressure from behind. Trying to slow it down, and a foul is called on the floor. Doesn't matter. That'll be the 7th. As they will take a 1-and-1 at the line. Goes against number 34, Sieg. Her second and timeout going to be called by the Thunder. Gurgle will be shooting 2 when we return, 19-11. An 8-point Lancer lead with 6:44 to go. Back from timeout. Gurgle will head to the line as Hammond will be entering in for what appears to be Gurgle. 19-11, 8-point Lancer lead. Gurgle will try to extend it here before being subbed out for Hammond. Rims up and out. Tipped by Quaid. And last touch by Quaid as Hammond will now enter in for Gurgle. Gurgle 2 of 2 on the 3 tonight. Got 6 of the 19. Hammond in for the first time tonight as Johnson will send it in to Swanson. Right back to Johnson, who will take it up the floor. Pass with Swanson. Tipped out of the hands, he tried to send it to the post. Right back up top to Johnson. Back over to Swanson. Swings the corner to Kiesau. Back up top to Johnson. Swings it around. Back to the corner with Swanson. Looks deeper corner. Pass tipped by Milner out of bounds. And it'll stay with the Thunder. This one's high. Good read from Lydia. Can't get there in time. Miss Swanson will back off. Hands it off to Johnson. Back deep corner to Scheffner. Back up high with Swanson. Quick pass across. Has some space. Sieg the three. Off the side. Rerun by Goodman. And he'll hand off to Lydia. Over to Hammett. Looks at the bank and send it back high to Lydia. Over to Quaid. Over to Goodman. Goodman steps back. Thinks it's about a deep two. Won't take it. Back over to Nelner. Nelner's got a lane. Takes a bump. Loses it out of bounds. And it'll go back to the Thunder. Over to Johnson. Keep corner with Scheffner. Back up high with Swanson. Pass tip. See a little hand on it. Back over to Johnson. Johnson a little bit of space. Won't take it. Back to the thing with Scheffner. Kick back out to Swanson. Back over to Sieg. Back over to Johnson. Deep corner. He's out the deep two. Bounce up and out. Rebounded by Goodman. And a foul is called. Not a very smart foul for the Thunder, as it'll be their 8th. Instead of just possession of the floor for the Lancers, they're going to get a chance for 2 free points. Sending Goodman to the line for the first time tonight. Ends up going against Swanson. It'll be her first. Bouncing out, tipped in the air by Quaid, and rebounded in the corner by Scheffner. Swings it over to Sieg. Quick pass over to Johnson. Hands off corner to Kiesau. She'll go through, back up top to Sieg, and swing around. Swanson got some space, won't take it. Back over to Johnson. Go corner to Scheffner. Needs an option. Gonna try to go baseline, cut off into the paint. Double team and a kick back out. Good read from Lydia. She'll get a hand on it. Picked up by Goodman, and she'll send it back to Milner. Back up top with Lydia, who will take it up. Into the paint with Goodman. Back over to Nelner. Nelner takes a bump, and this time the foul is called. That'll be the 9th. And Nelner will shoot the final 1 and 1 of the half. After this, they'll be shooting 2 for the final 4:48. Trying to hit the 20s. Chance to give it a 10-point lead if she can make them both, as Gurgle prepares to check back in. Comes up short. Tipped up. Nelner's trying to get around, and a foul called on Nelner. That'll be her first and the team's 3rd. Gurgle checking in for Nelner. And it'll be Johnson taking up the floor. Hands it off to Sieg. Kick to the corner with Scheffner. Thinks about it, now gonna hand off inside. Pressure comes, kick back out to Swanson. Gurgle gets a hand on it. Swanson spinning around. Pass up, stolen away by Goodman. Goodman got a 2-on-2. Gurgle trailing from behind. Kick back out to Gurgle. Sweeps through, dribbling back out. And she'll just reset. Back over to Lydia. Quick to the paint with Goodman. Goodman the deep 2. She'll knock it down, and the Lancers up by 10. 21-11. Sieg up top. He's an option. Loses the dribble. Going to kick it back out to Johnson. Swings it corner to Kiesau. Quickly to the paint. Mishandles it. Not a good angle. Ends up traveling. Tried to go for the reverse. Realized it wasn't there and took that extra step. As now entering in will be Donahue for Shepard. And a radical back in as well for Hammett. 3:55 to go. Lancers with a solid 10-point lead. See if they can hold on to it to the half. Up top. Send it over to Goodman. Goodman's got some space. Made her last deep 2 this time. The 3 goes long. Foul called on the Lancers as well. As Goodman, after hitting her first, now 1 for 4 on the night. First one on Radical. Team's 4th. Should be able to hold off from getting to 7 in this first half at least. Second quick corner. Keys out a quick release. Off the side and rebounded by Goodman. Hands it back off up top to Gergel. You get over to Goodman. Back out to Gergel. Drives towards Lydia and will hand it off to her. Pass blocked and stolen away by Johnson. Takes no send it high to Sieg. Looks to the paint. Has Kiesau. One-on-one with Quay. Going to kick back out. Swings it around to Sheffert. Sorry, Donahue. Back up top with Johnson. Pass across to Swanson. Into the paint. Kiesau trying to get it out. Now going to dribble through. And timeout called before the shot, which ended up going in. So cost some 2 points. 21-11, a 10-point lead for the Lancers with 2:53 to go. Back from the timeout, 21-11, a 10-point Lancer lead. Passing baseline for Sieg as Gergel hits the floor. And an illegal screen going to be called on the Thunder. Offensive foul, so will not be 2 shots on the other end. This is their 10th foul, though, and the first one on Donahue. As this will be swung over to Radical. Gonna hand it off to Goodman. Right back up top to Radical. She'll fake and drive inside. Has some space. Gets underneath, and a foul is called. And she will take 2 at the line regardless. As the foul will go against Kiesau, her 3rd. Kiesau in a bit of foul trouble here early in the first half. As Radical misses now her 5th free throw. 0 for 5 on the day. Still yet to make one tonight. See if she gets on her 6th. She will. 1 for 6 is Radical now. She makes an 11-point lead. Doubles them up 22-11 with 2:35 to go. She drives inside. Steps back out. Swings high to Johnson. Sorry, Swanson. Who will swing over to Johnson. Back up high to Sieg. Sieg's got some space. She'll take the 3. Comes up short. Rebounded by Gergel. She'll take it up the floor. Quay nearly runs her over. Keeps her balance. Will hand off to Radical. Good pass into Lydia. Just a little bit late. As Johnson, good turn to get a hand on it. Takes back to the floor. Swing over to Kiesau. Thinks about it. Won't take it. Drives in. Little floater gets blocked by Radical. Ball rolling. Saved by Donahue. Foot on the line. We'll go back to the Lancers. Could have just let it roll out and had a pass in baseline instead. 1 for it did not pay off, so the Lancers will get a little possession going the other way. 1:54 to go now, as Nelner will send it into Gergel. Through, needs an optional, hand off to Nelner. Nelner drives around, will get it over to Goodman. Pressure right up on her. Into the hands of Quaid. Swings it across to Gergel. Gergel looks to the paint. Nothing there, going to drive up. Sends it to Nelner. Nelner thinks about it. Now back up to Goodman. Tipped away. Goodman gets it back. Has a 5-on-4 for a moment. Radical trying to drive inside. Double teamed. And a jump ball, which will stay with the Lancers. 1:25 to go here in the first half. Nelner will pass it in on the baseline. Lancers holding on to a 11-point lead. Has Gergel wide open corner if she wants it. Bring it to Quaid instead, who will lay it up and in. Quaid makes it a 13-point game with 1:15 to go. Sends it over, wasn't looking, off her elbow. Save, but then dribbles it off her knee as she falls into the Lancer bench. Gives it back to the Lancers with 1:13 to go. Donahue heads to the bench as Gergel will take it up the floor. Drives towards Radical and hand it off to her. Wants to give it to Quaid. Now we have skip pass across to Nelner. Nelner steps up, hand off to Quaid, kick it back over to Radical. Back to the paint with Nelner. Nelner quick turn, banks it up and in. Lancers good movement, brings it up to a 15-point game. Lancers a solid half. See if they can hold off the Thunder as Kisa gets a wide open look. Lancers weren't set. She gets the 2 right back, brings it back within 13. Had Radical inside, can get the pass off, and we get back up top to Nelner. Nelner going to drive inside, has a lane, takes a bump, foul is called. Can't knock it down, regardless of who we shoot to. Might have been on the floor. With 33.9 to go, Nelner back to the line. First one bounces up a couple times and will end up finding its way in. Brings it up to a 14-point lead. Nelner makes 15, rims up and out, and rebounded by Kiso. 30 to go, Thunder. Possibly their last possession here, might get another one. Lancers most likely tries to hold it out. Deep 2 for Sieg, knocks it down. So Thunder is starting to get their shots to fall here in the final minute. Gets it down within 12. Lancers they try to hold this one out. 13 seconds left. Radical will drive inside. Just a kick back up to Goodman and Will. Back up top with Quaid. 8 seconds. Goodman drives inside. Or Quaid drives inside and draws the foul. Team fouls now for the Thunder. As that'll be the second on Sheffer. It's going to be a long second half. If they continue to keep fouling. End up getting rid of a couple of. Quaid's first will fall. Makes it a 13-point game. Thunder will have 6 seconds to try to get back up the floor to get a good-looking shot off. That is Quaid's second. Rims up and out. Rebounded by Kiso. 4 seconds to go. Radical right on her, sends it up. Sieg can't get it off in time. Unaware of the clock, ends up passing it away as time expires. 28-15, a 13-point Lancer lead. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the second half. And we are back for the second half, 28-15, a 13-point lead for the Lancers as the Thunder will start off with the ball passing into Johnson. Thunder started to get it going offensively in the final minute or so. In a couple of deep twos, now driving inside for a little floater, let it up and in. Keeping that going here to start off the second, that's Lingen, who brings it back with an 11. Gurgle up top. We give it over to Nelner. Back up high with Gurgle. Back over to Nelner, wasn't looking. Still gets a handle on it, we'll dribble up high. Hand off to Lydia. Back up to Gurgle, read well. High enough to get it to Gurgle. Pass inside a little bit late. Ends up being taken away. Back up the floor, Johnson has some space. Radical gets back quickly and Johnson dribbles back out. Ends it off up top to Kisa at her feet. Ends up being a foul called on the Lancers. It'll go against Gurgle, her first. Lancers only had 5 fouls called in that first half. 2 on Quaid, 1 on Nelner, 1 on Radical. Gurgle picks up her first here on the first team foul as well. Thunder got to be careful of how many fouls they rack up here after dropping 14 in the first half. East out driving inside. Spinning on Radical, going to kick it back out. Low pass, lines and handles it on the dribble. Nelner right up on her, gets a piece of it. And goes in for the second attempt and gets her second foul. Her second, team second in the second half. And all of a sudden the Lancers looking like they might start getting in foul trouble with Nelner and Quaid, both with 2. Both on this possession. Then we get another chance to get a good look at it. Johnson passing to Seed. That's up to Lingen. Quick into the paint. Spinning inside to Seed. Good little move. Comes up short. Rebounded by Radical. We'll slow it down. Hand off to Quaid. Quaid the wide open 3. She'll knock it down. Lancers hit the 30s up 14. Seed back up the floor. Lingen looking for a response. Drives inside on Nelner. Nelner good cut off. Force her back out. Going to keep her dribble alive. Now picks it up. Needs an option. We're going to hand off to Johnson. Gurgle gets in to get the jump ball. And that'll go back with the Lancers. Hand it off to Nelner. Back to Gurgle, pass a little bit too in front of her. Ended up cutting in. As the pass stayed in her straight line. Trying to dribble over to make that a better pass. Ends up just throwing it out of bounds with 16-13 to go. Johnson drives around and hand out to Kisa. Back up top with Lingen. Back up quickly to Sieg. Sieg good fake, drives inside, has a lane, stuck with it, and ends up traveling. I thought about the quick pass, wasn't there right away, ended up hesitating and dropping that foot. So their turnover will send it right back to the Lancers. Gurgle up top, fakes to the post, not going to give it to her, tipped out of her hands. Quaid trying to get a handout, ends up being taken away. Gurgle forces Sieg back out, trying to kick it out, and now a jump ball held by Radical. That'll stay with the Thunder. Pass in baseline from Lungen. Needs an option. Has Seeks for release. Going to send up to Kisau instead. So fakes from the drive inside. Radical will cut her off. Kick back out. Good tip from Gurgle. Ends up in the hands of Johnson. Puts a little floater. Sends it long. We've been inside. Will turn on Quaid. Shepard needs an option. Goes underneath and lays it up and in. Shepard stays patient. Finds the angle she needs and brings this game back within 12. Swings over to Nelner. Pass across for Radical. Going to step inside. Going to hand off to Quaid. Swings over to Lydia. Lydia's got space. Bounces up. And out of play. Fortunate bounce for the Lancers as Sieg will take it back up top. Lydia right up on him. Swinging over to Kisau. The screen gets Johnson open for a second. Can't find her in time. Not gonna send it into the paint. Tipped out of her hand. She'll get it back. Skip pass across on a bounce. Handled by Sieg. Back up top with Langen. Gets it over to Kiso. Looking to drive it on Radical. Nelner there to help. She'll just take it away. Got Girdle coming from behind. Rims up and out. And a foul is called on Sieg. That'll be the team's first. And Sieg's third. As Nelner will take two at the line. Her first to fall makes it a 13-point game. The second will fall as well. This Lancers a 14-point lead, 33-9. Lines it up top. This handles her dribble, ends up being a double dribble. Wanted to pass, ended up not focusing on dribbling around the defender. Ended up looking up late. Another turnover, sends it back to the Lancers, picked up by Girdle and give it over to Nelner. Takes inside, back over to Radical. We get a pass over to Nelner into a double team, and she travels. Timeout is called. 33-19, a 14-point Lancer lead with 14-19 to go in the second half. After the timeout, 33-19, a 14-point lead for the Lancers. As up the floor goes Johnson. It's over to Swanson. We go deep corner, poked away by Nelner. It's being handled by Swanson, and a foul is called on Nelner. That'll be her third. The team's third as well. And now Goodman getting ready to check in for her. Johnson, a quick release. And foul called before the shot. Didn't hit it anyway. Ends up going against Kiso, and that's her fourth. So big foul call away from the ball. And she's one away from having to leave the game, still with 14 minutes to go. Pass inside to Radical. Tipped out of her hands at the last second. Last touch by Radical. And that'll head back to the defender. Right idea, just not quite high enough. It's over Swanson. Gonna go corner with Donahue. Back up top, stolen away by Radical. Pass over to Florida Quaid. Has a 2-on-4, she'll take it herself. Slowing it down, pass tipped out into the hands of Radical. She'll swing out a lot of pressure on her. Goodman's got it, hand off corner to Lydia. Lydia fakes and drives inside. Little floater. Bounces up and out. And rebounded by Sieg. Hand it back off to Johnson. Pass over the hands of Radical into the corner with Donahue. Back to the paint with Stefan. He's an option, triple team, and a travel is called. Nowhere to go for Sheffer. As entering in will be Kiso for Donahue. up top. Swinging over to Lydia. Pass in the paint to Gurgle. Gurgle is blocked from behind by Sieg. Now let out to Johnson. Gurgle on her just about half court. Drives around, pressure right up on her. As the deep corner. Back over to Swanson. Fakes in the paint. Back up high with Kiesau. Very one-sided of the Thunder. No one's getting over. As now Kiesau steps over. Now comes right back. And put on the line, I believe he said. Which will send it right back to the Lancers. Not a lot of good spacing from the Thunder. Couldn't ever get a pass off, and I'm just getting trapped in that corner. As Gurgle now takes up the floor. Pressure on her, change the direction, pass in the paint with Radical. Takes the pass through, Radical good spin inside, is fouled from behind. And goes against number 32. Shepherd, that'll be her third. Radical 1 for 6 from the line tonight. First one bounces off here to make it 1 for 7. Second will fall. Makes it a 15-point game, 34-19. Both offenses starting to stall here, so they can get it back going. Thunder, their defense can hold on. They've got to get some offense going. Kick out, got the open three. Comes up short. Rebound Lydia, ball on the floor, looking like a jump ball, and it will be heading back to the Lancers. Lydia right back up to Gurgle. Takes in the center corner to Goodman. Back deeper corner to Lydia. Gonna take the three, pressure right on her. Gonna bounce up and out. Rebound Radical. Bad angle, gonna throw it back out. Back to Goodman. High off the backboard, comes up long. Rebound. Quay comes along as well. Rebound Radical does it herself. Sends that one long as well. Tipped out of the hands by Quay and a foul call. A lot of good looks for the Lancers. They don't know if they get it done. Ends up resulting in a Quaid foul. That's her third. The team's fourth. Now Eichstead will move up the bench for the Lancers. Swings it over to Swanson. Keeping in the corner with Sheffer. Right back to Swanson. Pressure comes and a foul called on Radical. That'll be her second and the team's fifth. Eichstead getting ready to enter in. As Swanson will take her first free throw. Which will fall. Finds the 20. Quaid and Leah will exit. Swanson makes her second as well. Makes it a 13-point game. Passing to Gurgle, who will take it up the floor. Drives around towards Goodman. Doesn't have an option. Radical comes out to get the ball. Has a drive inside. Now cut off. Gonna put one up. Bounces up and out. Tipped by Nelner. Picked up by Eichstead. Now ball on the floor and a jump ball. Heading back to the Thunder. Knocked out both free throws, get the well-needed stop. Chance to bring this back down to a 10 or 11-point game here. Back over to Ness. Into the paint. Tips, pass blocked, and thrown away by Radical. Has a 3-on-2. Jump stop, lays it up and in, and the Lancers back up by 15. He's out. Drives around to the corner, hands it off to Donahue. Struggles to get a hand on it, now double team. Steps her hand to the paint, and a foul called on Eichstead. It'll be the team's sixth. After the pass, and they'll be shooting the rest of the half. Passing baseline is an option, gets it into Swanson. Double team, gonna put one up over him. Bounce up and out, received by Nelner. That's a 3-on-3. Pass over to Radical. Takes it up over to Thunder, can't quite finish. And now Nelner gets in to make it a jump ball, which will stay with the Lancers. Good job from Radical. Got the pass in off the double team. Couldn't quite finish, came a little bit short. This will maintain possession off the jump ball. She'll have Goodman passing it on the baseline. Quickly to Gurgle. Steps up, has Radical up top. Back corner to Goodman. Goodman the open three. She'll knock it down. Made her first, missed the last four. Hasn't shot in quite a while. Knocks this one down to make it 2 for 5 on the night. As the Lancers their largest lead, 18. 39-21. Tipped out of her hands, stolen away by Nelner. Nelner trying to get baseline, sideline. Ends up being fouled by Keesaw. The team's fourth. And a timeout called by the Thunder. 39-21, an 18-point lead for the Lancers here in the second half. Timeout, 39-21, an 18-point lead for the Lancers with 10:06 to go. Gurgle will pass it in. Thunder not quite ready. Gets into Radical. Not a lot of options. So dribble up and send it high to Lydia. Back over to Gurgle. Looks to the paint. Now dribbles it back out. Gets it over to Goodman. Right back over to Gurgle. Quick swing to Lydia. Wants the paint. Radical comes a little bit late. Low. Pass is low. Ends up bouncing away into the hands of Keesaw. She'll lose it on the floor. Kicks it back out quickly. Has Ness. Gets it over to Swanson. Back to the corner with Keesaw. Into the paint. Has some space. Donahue. Kick back out to Swanson. Another pass over to Ness. Ness the open three. Sends it long. Rebound Swanson. Turns around. Rims up and in. And the Thunder get it back within 16. Gurgle up top. Gonna get it over to Goodman. Back up to Gurgle. Quick pass over to Lydia. Fakes. Had to drive for a second. Now going to pass to Eichstad. Good read from Swanson. Can't get a hand on it. Ends up losing it, but ends up being handled by Ness. Back over to Swanson. Back over to Ness. Quick to Swanson. Swanson's got space. Rims up and out on the three. Ball on the floor, and it'll be an almost jump ball. Now will be. Which will stay with the Thunder. Pass in baseline. Needs an option, sends one high. Lydia gets a hand on it, picked off by Radical. Radical all alone. And lays it up and in. 41-23, an 18-point Lancer lead. Nass going to swing it across to Swanson. Looking back at Nass, going to give it to her. Pass in the corner, swung away by Radical and taken away once again. Up the floor to Eichstätt. Has Goodman up top. Gonna hand it off to Radical. Radical steps inside, back over Lydia. Lydia, the deep 2. Sends it long. Goodman all alone. Sends it long as well. Picked up by Nelner, who will take it back up top. Hands it off to Lydia, back over to Radical. Hands it off up top to Nelner. Over to Goodman. Back up top to Nelner. Dribbles over towards Loki and hand it off to her. Back over to Goodman. Goodman in the corner, thinks about a 3, won't take it. Dribbles back high and will hand off to Lydia. Back over to Nelner. Nelner steps up, back over to Lydia. Back to Nelner. Pass over to Radical. All the way across for Goodman. Goodman's got some space. She'll fake. Relocates on the 3. Off the back. And rebounded by Sieg. Back over to Swanson. It's inside. We'll give it to Seffner. Back up top. Tripped up and a foul is called on Lydia. And that will send Ness to the line to take the first 1-1 of the day for the Thunder. As Gergerlein is back in for Lydia. So picked up by Radical, who will take it back up the floor. Weaving through defenders. Kick out. Goodman. Open 3. Bounces out. And rebounded by Swanson. Back over to Ness. Quick pass to the side. And once again, Sheffer thinks she has something. Doesn't end up going through with it. Puts down her foot once again. Back over the floor goes Gergel. It's over to Eichstätt. In the paint with Radical. Pass across to Nelner. Nelner's got space. She'll dribble inside. Blocked from behind. And picked up by Donahue. Ends up getting it out to Ness. Pass over the floor. Open 3 for Kiesau. Knocks it down. Brings him back within 15. They get it over to Eichstätt. Back up top to Gergel, spinning inside. Has some space, hand off Nelner, into the paint with Radical, swung it away, Nelner there to get it. Takes it right back through, and a foul is called on the floor. That'll be the 5th team foul, and will go against Kiesau, which will be her 2nd. Nelner on the baseline, gets up to Radical, swung away, Nelner right there to get it, and fouled once again. Goes against Sheffer. Now has 4. Now send Miller to the line to take 2. Also the 6th foul for the Thunder. So they'll be shooting free throws the rest of the night as Kuwait will let her in for Eichstätt. Down their 2nd free throw with a chance to make it a 16-point game. Rims up and out. Tipped at the air by Radical and a foul called on Radical. That'll be the 8th and Radical's 3rd. And that will result in a 1-1 on the other end. Airballs with free throw, and that'll be a pass. The Lancers will not earn her a 2nd. As Gergel takes it back up the floor. Back to the post with Quaid. Takes a shot, gives it back to the Radical. Back up top with Gergel. Swings it around to Nelner. Back up top to Gergel. Gergel's got some space, won't take it. Back over to Nelner. Nelner drives inside. Pull-up jumper. Bounces up and out. Tipped by Radical. Saved by Radical into the hands of Goodman. Gets out to Gergel. Drives inside. Back over to Nelner. Into the paint with Quaid. Quaid turns. Kick out. Radical from the elbow. Bounces out. And rebounded by Kiesau. Handed back off up top and sent up to Swanson. Goes to the corner with Kiesau. Looks to the paint. Now it's going to drive down. Forced back out by Radical. Skip pass across. Got some space. Sieg. Off the back. Tipped up. Rebounded by Kiesau inside. Right back up. Comes up short. Tipped around and rebounded by Radical. Up the floor with Gurgle. Has a 1-on-2. Weiser slows it down. Sends it up top to Radical. Radical goes right into the paint. Kick out corner to Goodman. Goodman from the corner. Hits it again. Lancers go up 18. Swings it over to Kiesau. Quick corner. Good read from Radical. He's going to save it. Couldn't quite get a whole hand on it. He's stepping out of bounds, which will keep it with the Thunder, as Kiesau will enter in for the Thunder, along with Sheffer. Both those two with 4 fouls. With 5:07 to go, need them in if they want to have a chance to come back in this game. If they foul out, it's going to have to be for them. Say Radical too close to the inbound. So they will do it again. Siegel pass it in. Gets into Kiesau. Sends one across to Swanson. Corner to Kiesau. Fakes back to the paint. Swanson's got some space. Comes up short. Tipped around. Rebounded by Kiesau once again. Kick back out. Swings it around to Sieg. Pass swatted away by Radical. Radical pokes it away. Slows it down. Pass across to Gurgle. Gurgle's got space inside. And one. Lancers take a 20-point lead. Chance to make it 21 at the line. Goes against, I believe, Kiesau. She heads back to the bench. It'll be her 5th. She's out for the rest of the game. 4:47 to go. As Gurgle will take her and one. Chance to make it a 21-point game. Bounces out. Rebounded by Sheffer. And a timeout is called. 46-26, a 20-point Lancer lead with 4:46 to go here in the second half. Back for the timeout. 46-26, a 20-point Lancer lead. As the pass will go in to Sieg. She'll take it back up the floor. Swings it over to Swanson. Back to the corner, tipped off her hands, not a play. That's going to go back to the Lancers. And Thunder going to bring in some press here. Need to come back from 20 down with 4.5 to go. Down there on the pass in. Gets up to Radical. Radical turns, sends up the floor to Goodman. Goodman got a 2-on-1. Mishandles the pass. Ends up being taken away. Back into the hands of Kiesau. Up the floor to Langevin. Back to the corner. Sieg. Looking for an option. Dribbles up high and will hand it off to Kiesau. Swings it around to Swanson. Takes corner. Back to Kiesau. Keeper corner with Sieg. High with Swanson. Swings it around. Langevin. Fakes and going to the paint. Sheffer going to get it across. Kick to the corner. Sieg the open 3. Bounces out. Rebounded by Neller and a foul is called. It'll be the team's 8th, both teams now with 8, as Nelner will walk down the floor to take her 1-1. Foul goes against Esau, her 3rd. First will fall for Nelner as she makes it a 21-point game. Second match is out, tipped up in the air, rebounded by Radical. So spin, look to kick out, will to Nelner. Nelner drives back inside, little floater, comes up short, gets her on rebound, comes up short again. And Lancers stay at it and force the travel once again on Sheffer. Ended up falling down on what could have been a jump ball, let go at the last second. Ends up going to the Lancers with 3:52 to go. Passing corner from Goodman. Sends one high to Radical. Wasn't there, and a foul called on Radical. It'll be the 9th foul and the 4th on Radical. And after this, we'll be seeing 2 the rest of the night. Swanson heads to the line, take the final 1-1. Knocks it down. Makes it a 20-point game once again. Play one comes up short, rebounded by Goodman. Say she crossed the line anyway, so it'll stay with the Lancers. 3:51 now, as they'll take it up the floor. And they'll continue to press. Gets into Girdle. Girdle turns and goes. That's Goodman ahead of her. Gonna slow it down and send it up high to Radical. Nice to know where he's trying to waste out the rest of the time here. Gets into Quaid. With a spin. Skip pass across to Goodman. Goodman's got some space to drive inside. Spinning back and has Nelner. Back to the paint with Radical. Takes pass inside. Tipped away. Ball on the floor. And handled by Osseo. And now a foul called. And it's on Radical. It's her 5th. Quaid picks up her 4th. So Quaid and Radical both now with 4. Not too much time remaining if they foul out. Probably won't be such a big deal as Lancers do have a solid 20-point lead. 2 shots now for Swanson as her first bounces up and out. Another chance to make it a 19-point game. Rims up and out, rebounded by Radical. And send him to floor to Nelner. Nelner gets it across. Has a lane. Ends up being fouled by Donahue. Sorry, Lingen. And they'll send Nelner back to the line. Bounce up and out. Tipped and rebounded by Goodman, who lays it back up and in. Makes it a 22-point game with 3:10 to go. Driving inside. Loses it for a second. Gonna get back out to Swanson. Hands off up top to Lingen. Back to the corner. Sieg the quick shot off the side of the backboard. A little bit too quick for Sieg with exactly 3 minutes to go. Elner will pass it in on the baseline. Radical wants a deep pass and gonna get it. Has a 3-on-3 for a moment. And she'll wisely slow it down to waste time. All the way across to Goodman. Lancers got a line change incoming. Gurgle spins out of the pressure. Back in the paint with Radical. Back over to Nelner. Pass tip. Now has to go back to get it. Bad angle on the baseline and it's fouled. Goes against Lingen once again as Nelner heads back to the line to take 2. It'll be Eichstad, Lydia, Williams, Hammett, and Nelner all entering in for the Lancers for the final 2:43. As Lingen picks up her 4th. And the Thunder are going to send in a couple of subs as well. As Nelner's first will fall. Lydia will stay and wait for Nelner to take her second free throw. Sheffer and Johnson re-enter. So Thunder still with all their starters out there. Lance still have a solid 24-point lead. Make sure they play enough defense to make sure they don't get right back in it. The press can be a little bit difficult. This one tipped out and is being tipped out of bounds by the Thunder, so Lance will get a chance to start off with a possession. As Lydia enters in. Williams and Nelner getting their first minutes of this game. Hammond had a few earlier today. Lydia, of course, started this game. Has been sitting out for the last few minutes. She will be there to assist. Nelner sends it back to Lydia, close on the fourth line. Sending it right back to Nelner. Exit turns inside, kick back out to Nelner. She'll step up, send it up high to Lydia. Drives around towards Hammett. Fakes to her. Back over to Nelner, wasn't looking. And now they'll go back to the Thunder. 2:25 to go. Gets it over to Swanson. Back into the paint. Sheffer drives inside. Kicks out to Keesaw. Keesaw will step through on the baseline. Gets it out. Kick out high to Swanson. Swanson drives around. Johnson got a little bit of space. Gets the extra pass to Keesaw for the deep 2, and she'll knock it down. Makes it a 21-point game. Press kind of there. Just a little bit late. As Lydia will take it slow. Drives around. Going to get a screen from Nelner. Stops at the line. Sends it up high to Hammond. Hammond looks inside, finds Eichstadt. Eichstadt turns. Foul is called on the floor. Eichstadt, we're going to stick to it. The line is a full line change coming forward with the Thunder with 1:49 to go. Eichstadt's first will bounce up and out. 5 new Thunder players will enter. Exit second, the fall. Exit a 22-point game. Will be sent up the floor and sent right back. Hoffman, back into the paint. Spinning around inside. Backs it up and in. And the Thunder will bring it back within 20, 51-31. Lydia up the floor. And a double dribble. Hesitated on her pass, ended up picking it up for a second before dropping it back down. Going to give it right back to the Thunder. Keesaw pass it in. Hoffman. The paint too high, picked up by Nelner. Nelner will try to push Lydia in front of her. Pass a little bit late. She'll stop, take a dribble back, kick out to Williams. Williams a quick shot, bounces up and out. Tips around inside. He's being rebounded by the Thunder. And taken up by Keesaw. Drives around, pass back into the paint. Steps through, needs an option. Trying to pass it around. Tipped by Eichstadt, ball on the floor, picked up. And a jump ball will send it with the Lancers. Pass it in, she'll take it up the floor. Under a minute to go here. Lancers with a 20-point lead. 51-31 on the verge of getting back to 500 at 3-3. Swings it over to Hammond. Back up high to Lydia. Hands it off to Nelner. Back over to Hammond. Pressure right on him. Pass into the paint with Eichstadt. Eichstadt turns and shoots. Bounces up and out. Rebound back down to Haynes to pick up the floor to Hoffman. 30 seconds to go. She'll dribble through a trap. Kick out corner. Ruba fakes. Back into the paint with Donahue. Backs her down. Comes up short. Rebounded by Williams. Sends it out to Lydia. Last offensive possession for the Lancers with 20 seconds to go. Swings it over to Hammond. Back up top is Lydia. She'll sweep and step inside. Back up top to Nelner. 10 seconds to go. Into the paint with Williams. Williams turns. Steps through. Little jumper. Balances up and out. Rebound inside by Williams. Right back up and in. And that will do it. 53-31, a 22-point win for the Lancers as they improve to 3-3 on the year. Lancers guys with the game tomorrow at Whitehall. JV and Varsity will be streamed. As they are at 500 as well. It was 1-1 after a loss last night against the Beavers. Looking to get back to a winning record against Whitehall. They are currently 1-2 on the year. See you tomorrow for the guys' game. It'll be starting at 4:30. 4:30 for JV, and then 6:15 for Varsity. A bit earlier start time due to the Saturday game. Lancers win by 22, 53-31, 3-3 on the year.